things I'd like to touch on is that, yeah, I love hip hop. I'm a hip hop head. It's been my life's passion. But I hate education with a passion, you know what I mean? But I love to learn. So like that's like a paradox that I've always wrestled with as a youth and going to school, because I didn't feel like school was teaching me anything in terms of who I was and what I needed to navigate society. You know what I'm saying? I grew up in Lawrence Heights and Jane and Finch, and for a lot of us coming to school every day, it's like teachers and administrators that are part of these institutions are not really in tune with what's going on in our reality. So you can tell me about Canadian history, you can tell me about, you know, certain things, but that wasn't relevant to us. You know, so I always found that for me, hip hop was a tool that I could use to teach myself things and understand different concepts. You know what I mean? Like hip hop taught me that I lived in the hood, as far as understanding myself in relation to the society that I lived in. You know, I was taught that, yeah, you know, I grew up in community housing, we're all equal, everything's the same. But the way the cops roll through the community is not like it is over here. You know what I mean? When they draped you up on the wall, like they weren't teaching me about things that I needed to get out of that space or to develop, you know? So as some of you guys may know, I'm a B-boy, so I've been able to travel the entire globe. I've been to Poland, Germany, Korea, all of these things. And for a lot of kids that live in these communities, like even in the States, your worldview is very narrow in terms of like how you see yourself and how you see the world. So because I was able to travel at such a young age, I was able to grow and develop and learn a lot of things that I basically included in the curriculum that I teach in the school. So it's really me taking all my passions and ideas and putting that into, you know, a curriculum that students could use to have similar experiences or learn about things that are not being taught in traditional education. You know what I mean? Like the effect of colonialism in the 21st century. You know what I mean? Our identity, you know, these kinds of things. So that's pretty much it in a nutshell. The program's still in its infancy, it's still evolving. You know, I don't have a degree, I don't have PhD in, you know, anything behind my name. So I don't really consider myself a formal educator, but I feel like everybody's a teacher in their own way. And that's kind of like how I run my program with a lot of these students, is that they're teaching me things, they're shaping the curriculum, you know what I mean? So it's really more holistic in that sense. Yeah.
And kind of to touch back on something that Sam said, I think there's a real need to go deeper with the capacity of what we're doing with hip hop education, right? To even just look at the conditions in which hip hop was created. You know, it didn't come out of Bay Street. It came out of the hood for a reason, right? So there's a real energy there that I think is important to tap into in taking what we can out of hip hop to be able to relate it back to like social justice, for example, right? And use these things to relate to youth and their identity in a deeper way. Not just analyzing rap lyrics or looking at music videos or these sorts of things, but this is a real avenue to invite people to have deeper dialogues with themselves about who you are, what your purpose is in life, and what you are doing here. And man, these are the times, right? Things are shifting and there's a real need to grow. The thing, I don't want to take up too much space, the thing that I really want to kind of talk about is that what Don't Believe the Hype is doing is a little bit different in that we're partnering with the mainstream education system, right? We are partnering with teachers to bring in community educators. Now this is not a new thing, right? But it's kind of off in a corner in a way where like, so it's ghettoized, right? And we would love, I think, all of us to get to a point where we had like a hip hop school, where, you know, like Sam's talking about, like that we have a place where we call our own and everything is related to hip hop. But right now, we're trying to figure out avenues how to get there. There's steps that are being formed, and if you look across the street, there's World Conservatory, right? And I've had the privilege of being able to connect with this institution, and they've monopolized this thing called arts education, where they have inroads with the government, with the ministry, where they're, you know, have all this sort of funding to take artists, right, and place them in schools and kind of do what we're doing, but on a much wider scale across the province, across the country.